Well, welcome everyone to our Native Market Success Part 2, Day 2 of our webinars with Orca Designs. We have Jill here, and I'll let her introduce herself, but we're so excited for these. These webinars will also be recorded. We'll have 2 parts today. We'll have an hour and a half, 30-minute break for lunch, bio break, whatever, stretch your legs, take a walk, and then another hour and a half of materials that Jill has prepped for us. We're really excited. This will be recorded and available on our Mighty Networks platform here in a month or so. So they will be on demand and you can watch them back at your leisure, recommend them to your friends, do all of the things to make sure that these resources are as accessible as possible. This was made possible in part by our partners with the USDA Office of Tribal Relations. So we're very thankful for their support in that. And with that, I will let Jill take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with you, Nawa. Tot a chiksta eat, tata sa Jill Newmeister, pati tot, tatak tika skiddy. I'm grateful to be here with you. I'm Jill Newmeister, a citizen of the Pawnee Nation of Oklahoma of the Skiddy Wolf Band. Behind me is Atias Kadaha, Father Buffalo. A little bit about myself. Born and raised in Western Washington on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe. Today I'm speaking to you from the traditional lands of the Karankawa people in the area known as the Gulf Coast of Texas. So this is part of my our branding and branded marketing series for Native producers. This is day 2. So this is our third session, our morning session. And what we're going to be covering during this morning session, session 3, is marketing. What we're going to cover are a brand messaging framework, brand marketing process, content planning, and marketing metrics. What we covered in the prior 2 sessions, we really focused on branding. And this, as you've noticed, the name of this series is Branding and Branded Marketing. So branded marketing has to do with really leaning into the marketing that you've determined, or the branding that you've determined for your products or services, and bringing that branding into your marketing so there's consistency and strength when you are talking to your potential customers and talking about your brand. So to begin, we're going to talk about that framework. You, at this point, you have developed a brand positioning statement, a brand positioning. That is what we covered in the prior session about determining what it is that who your audience is, who your competitors are, and formulating that unique position that you'd like to have them think of you when they are thinking about you as opposed to your competitors. So we've gone from that, you have that created, and now you're going to develop a communication framework that will consistently convey to your target audience. It'll align your message across all your touch points, from your website, social media, to your sales materials, and customer interactions. This is key to ensure your communication resonates with your target audience and reinforces your unique position. You really want to cement your brand's identity and make it more memorable for your customers. So branding, bringing your branding, being very disciplined about your branding, bringing it into your marketing message makes you, every single thing you do in marketing, it makes it so much stronger. It helps to cement the idea of your brand into your customers' minds. Now, once you've defined your brand positioning, it's time to develop that communication framework. Uh, so again, we haven't really talked about, doing um, rolling out this brand messaging, this brand positioning statement into things like logos and taglines and other parts and pieces. So that's what we're talking about now. Once you have this strategic plan of how you're positioning in the marketplace, what space you're going to be taking up, now it's time to develop a communication framework. And it's just going to allow you to be consistent. So be consistent in your messaging to your target audience. You want to align all your messaging across all your touch points, again, from your website to your social media to your sales material to all your customer interaction. And the key is you want to ensure your communication resonates with your target market and reinforces your unique position that you're staking out in the marketplace. This will help cement your brand's identity and make it memorable to your customers. So each step of every step we're going to cover is just real basic framework for branding. And really, many of us understand that about branding, that you have to be consistent. And by being consistent, your brand and your messages become much stronger. So you're consistently conveying your brand's position to your audience. You're aligning your message across all touch points, and you're ensuring your communications resonate with your target market. So here's the steps of your your brand messaging framework. You need to have that brand positioning statement. That brand positioning statement, we're going to be talking about this a lot through today and some into tomorrow. But codifying and actually writing down what that position is an internal document. It is your roadmap for your positioning. It's something that you do in the beginning. You do it when you're launching a new product. You're doing it when you are growing your business, maybe breaking into international markets. So that brand positioning statement is something to become familiar with, to learn how to use it, to learn why it's an internal document. It is not your mission and vision. It is your strategy for taking products to market, and how you talk about it, really. So I so let's so let's see. So let's go through the steps. Brand position statement. It's an internal document. You define your brand's unique value proposition. You articulate how your brand is different from the competition. And using that positioning statement, you guide your decision making in all the types of messaging that you do. It will serve as an internal guide to ensure your decisions and your actions align with the position you want to own in the minds of your customer. It's a powerful tool for maintaining focus and consistency. It's one of those documents, much like guiding principles, but it's one of those documents that will allow you to use it as a touch point, to come back to it and say, does this messaging that we're doing, or is this social media post that we're thinking about doing, does it support this in in this positioning statement. It will be a touchstone for every single thing you do. Your entire organization should understand what this document is, and again, understand that it's an internal document as well. So you're going as you're thinking about building out this brand messaging strategy, you're going to review your brand positioning strategy. You're going to think again about your audience. You're going to think about your competitors and your brand and that differentiation. So your statement is succinct, but there's also the strategy of what you've learned behind it. So you'll be uh, again, just remember how you get that brand positioning statement, keeping in mind always the audience, who they are, how we reach them, are your competitors. What is the opening in the category? What are they doing differently and maybe not so well? Again, your brand position is often based on what your competitors' weaknesses are. And you're going to really, really know your brand. Every time you pick this up, every time you think about and do any of these steps in this framework, you're going to go through all of these different things in your mind. Your audience, your competitors, your brand, how does it stand out? Why is it different? And then that differentiation is just codifying what are the most important things that is the opportunity that you can say that nobody else can say. Those are really help you prioritize your messages. If being a local product is really what makes you different, and if that leans into the values of your customers who care about sustainability, you that's always a strong message. If how you kind of own that space. So you'll begin to see what's the most powerful types of messaging as you review your brand strategy, positioning strategy. All right. So now you've done all this planning. You know who you are as a product, as a brand. You know what your values are. Um, you know why you exist. Why do you exist in the marketplace? What problem are you solving in the marketplace? What are the customers' needs and wants? Now you're going to start writing. You're going to actually start writing the parts and pieces you need to present yourself online, to present yourself to your customers. This is when you start writing. This is what I call core brand messaging. It's your brand verbal identity. It is how you write about yourself, how you talk about yourself. And that's when, you start writing all these things down. And you might, um, it might be an about us page. But about us, a value statement. Here's why we do what we do. Here's how we started. Here was the how our founders originated it. If you're a solopreneur, you might write about why you started this company. Why the world needs you. What your mission is to bring this product to life. You might be writing about what you care about, what motivates you. You might write about why you developed a certain product and then went on to sell, to create a second part product. In fact, you as a founder, you as your company may have one statement about who you are and why you did what you did. Um, but then each one of your products may also have its own statement about why it exists, why it's special, why it should be considered against a competitor. So your brand verbal identity often is everything you put on a website, all the words. Uh, it's don't hold back, write as much as you can, keeping in mind that there's a place for everything. But once you do these, there's all kinds of ways to build them out so that you have succinct phrases. You have succinct phrases that reinforce your unique position, your unique um, position and quality and benefit to your customer and the supporting benefits. So, writing these things out as much as you can, using understanding that, you want to talk about the origins, the why do we exist? Why does the world need you? Why and what values drive you? How are those values, how do those values connect to your customers? All of these things need to be written and need to be available to you so then you can pass this on to your social media creators, your partners, your team, your sales team, um, or just for yourself so that you're not making it up on the fly. If you're a solopreneur and you are marketing your products, do this ahead of time so that you're not having to make it up on the fly. I mean, your business. Some of these things are inside your head. All these things. So when you make a post, you're making that right decision. But yet, if it's not, written down, you might start to waver. You might start getting outside your wheelhouse. And what's and the bottom line is when we're all marketing a product, marketing a service, an organization, one of the things that I see over and over is just boredom. Yeah, because this is marketing a brand marketing is what this section is called. Brand marketing can be kind of boring because you are sticking to some scripts. Are sticking to some concepts. You're trying to stay on brand. So having kind of this roadmap that you can kind of use as a touchstone when you're creating new content, you can then use it as a litmus test to see if what you're creating is supportive of it. So it's important to be creative. It's important to be fun, have some fun on social media, but really understanding what your brand is will help. And this is that the verbal identity part that's critical. So what's inside uh, verbal identity? As you're developing it, because now you have a brand position statement that's a real short statement. Um, you have some guidelines of who you are and a little bit about about who you are and this is where you start developing your personality. So your brand tone, your brand personality, your brand story, your brand core messaging. The brand tone will naturally come out. You'll decide whether you want to be casual, whether you want to be a little more formal, depending on what the product is, what the service is. You might want to put yourself out there as a um, as an expert in your field. You might want to put yourself out there as somebody who just developed a product to for your own health, and for your own sake of healthy living. You may want to talk about food and put yourself out as a culinary expert, and then you'd be using some different tones. And so this is where you get to really decide on what that brand personality. Maybe you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Maybe you poke fun at yourself, or you poke fun at different industry norms. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you have a little fun with that. Maybe it's just very respectful, and you connect with other people, that you build people up. So some of your tone, some of your personality is also such good, great respect for others and what you do, and lifting them up. There's all sorts of ways for you to really authentically talk about yourself, or not just talk about yourself, but also, if part of your personality and story is lifting up other people up, or lifting up issues, lifting up or talking about maybe a problem, corporate food, um, industrial food complex, um, the oil industry might be part of, and what you want to lift up is clean energy. There, you're going to make these decisions on how you do that. Do we go down that road of identifying the enemy, and you'll have decided that in your brand positioning statement and brand positioning, whether that's going to be what you do, and that's how you're positioning yourself. And we'll talk about that a little further down the road. But right now we're just covering uh, uh, right now we're just covering kind of the overview of all these parts and pieces that you need to have a good solid brand foundation, a framework for then to start your marketing. And once you do all that, then you start your brand visual identity. And I know that that might surprise some of you. Uh, it's uh, it's it really is incredibly helpful to understand your personality, to understand the tone, to understand your values, to understand how you really want to show up in the world. Those things, we talk about. Those are verbal ideas, ideas that can be, put on paper. It's that type of information that a graphic designer needs. Um, they need that to then develop your your logo, your name, your tagline, your style guide. So uh, what's interesting, and I can tell you that there's been multiple times when we've developed brands when the name hasn't been chosen. So we get to take part in a naming process, a tagline process. Often, someone might have some ideas for a name, but we can kind of help you walk through it, or a graphic designer can help you walk through it by showing you what that looks like with one name versus another, because they just sometimes look different in print. And what you're trying to do is embody personality. You're trying to embody some qualities of who you are as a core brand. So I think it's pretty a good thing for people to understand that really brand logo, brand name, tagline, those things can happen as you get further into the brand process. You don't need to come up with those before you engage a graphic designer to develop this. I think that's one of the most surprising things that I can let you know about. All right, once you have all that, once you know you're on good footing, um, you've learned a lot, or you've got a lot of planning, a lot of strategy. Well, you are prepared now to develop the brand experience. And the brand experience is your website, it's your um, um, it's everything you do online, it's everything that you do as customer service, it's everything you do um, with your packaging. It's really your brand assets, sometimes we call them, but it's your packaging, it's anything that your customer experiences from you. So your social media platforms, your website, your packaging, uh, just any touch point where your your clients are coming in contact with you. It could be your booth at a farmer's market. It could be a wholesale box of seafood, 'cause it certainly needs might need a brand on it. So it can be a wholesale thing. It could also be a slide deck if you're trying to present your product to a buyer to get into retail. It's all of those marketing pieces that you're going to use to get the word out about your and interact with buyers and brokers, wholesale brokers, and the end user, of course. But like really, it's about consistency, bringing your positioning statement, your brand positioning, key elements, bringing that all the way through to that brand experience. So you're going to ensure every customer interaction reinforces your brand positioning. You want to create a cohesive and memorable brand experience, and you want to continuously evaluate and refine the brand experience. So once it's done, there's more to do. It's just critical to always evaluate, always refine, so that you are really helping to build the trust and loyalty and that strong emotional connection with your target audience. And reevaluating and reinforcing, uh, it, it it it's important to really just not go through the motions and but to think it through and seeing it and thinking through, okay, is this messaging for this particular segment the right messaging? Did I develop really good messaging for a retail buyer trying to get my products into retail? What do they need to know from me? So all of these things, again, that core messaging is also about developing different different wording for different segments also. So but all of it needs to tie in with your brand values and your brand core beliefs. So we're moving on. This is again that framework that you've done your branding work and now you want to start marketing. Well, your marketing, um, the next thing is taking all that branding that you created now, all the parts and pieces, all those brand assets, and putting it into a marketing strategy. So it's crucial to make sure everything's consistent. It's crucial that it's cohesive and memorable. And it just needs to be reinforcing your positioning. Whether every interaction, whether it's uh, every interaction that a customer has with your brand, whether it's online, in person, customer service, needs to contribute to the position that you want for them to have in their mind about your product.
Hey Jill,
Uh-huh.
we have some questions in the Q&A part. It's a little different than the regular chat, so they're kind of hard to find. I didn't know when you wanted to address them, but I want to make sure I let you know before you moved on too far.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that section was there. Now I see it. Good. Diane. Diane asked, the mission statement is also a touchstone. How does the brand positioning statement support this? The mission statement is public facing. It is what you want to tell people about what your mission is. I'm a proponent of having a mission statement, a vision statement, and a values statement. So your mission is what it is that you want to do in the world. It's your mission. The brand positioning statement does support that. It does talk about why you exist and what you do and how you do it for your customers. But the brand positioning statement is an internal document that talks about strategy because it directly relates to the competition and how you're going to find you define your niche, where the opportunity is. So it has a little strategy that you don't really put out there to the public. That's the difference. And then do you have any examples of a brand statement? I don't have exact brand statement, but I will show you. I have a template for a brand positioning statement that we'll go over. It's difficult to, uh, well, yeah, we can kind of put a couple elements into it, but yeah, we'll be going over the brand positioning statement because we haven't really gone deep in that. So we'll get there. Thank you. All right, so we're talking about implementing that branded marketing strategy. You're going to consistently convey your brand's positioning to your audience. You're going to align your messaging across all touch points, and you're going to ensure that your communication resonates with your target market. And that is key. And we'll talk more about that as we get into more marketing things. And in conclusion, basically, in conclusion, we're developing an effective brand positioning strategy. It's, a multifaceted process. We want to emphasize the importance of ongoing review and refinement, and understand what the call to action for the audience to implement these strategies. So, I just want to, again, always frame your marketing around your brand positioning statement. So that's kind of reached the end of this first part. Any other questions? I'll check. All right. Well, we had some good ones there. And again, this is a little bit of that overview, but I wanted to really tie together how branding is integral in it's an you can't really market well without knowing the foundation of how you're talking about your product and what your strategies are in your brand positioning. So I just wanted to kind of let you know that there's a process to get started for marketing, and really ground you in that as we move into the next section. All right, we're going to go through the nuts and bolts of marketing. We've never been able to start any marketing project without going through these steps with any client. So these are just the basics. And if you step any of these skips or skip any of these steps, something will be missing. So these are some very, very basic terms for marketing. I just want to put them into the context of of your marketing. So this is the brand marketing process. So what's the most important to launch into an effective brand marketing uh, process is the two top is to know your unique selling position and to know your target audience well. We're going to talk to you a little bit about developing buyer personas. We're going to learn about documenting your buyer's journey. We're going to cover determining your channels, your marketing channels, crafting your messaging content, establishing success metrics. We're going to review here in just a minute. So remember, yes, during yesterday's or the last segment on Tuesday, we really got into knowing your unique selling position. So understanding your selling position, knowing your target audience, understanding your competitors, and understanding your differentiation. Those are the four important things that you know, that you need to know. But let's cover knowing your target audience next. So how do you do that? You know, no matter what type of product, what type of service, how big or small, we we have to start with understanding your audience. And to do that, it's important to do a process where you defined your buyer personas. So through your market research, through your uh, audience research, you'll start to make, really make a spreadsheet of different target audiences. It could be your target audience is a social media influencer, somebody who just talks a lot about uh, about sustainable foods, uh, and it could be all of the people that she's really talking to, and you might say, that's who my target audience is, somebody who spends a lot of time on social media. These are the channels that they do. It's um, he this person has this family role. They live in this location, so that gives us an idea that they maybe live in the city, or they live, in a rural area. What generation are they? Gen Z, Gen X? Are they millennials? What kind of behavior do they have? Do they um, go to farmers markets? Do they uh, do they uh, do special things on the weekend? Do they and what do you offer them? What are their behavior? What are their needs and goals? So for your product inside your niche, that particular person, what is their needs and goals? This person might be a high information because they're into health, because they're into sustainability. They may be a high information uh, person, which means that they need information. They need to research. They need to learn all about your company. They need to read your entire website. They need to really understand why your product is special. So maybe that's what drives them, is to research the heck out of every product they buy. Their challenges might be, I don't know, maybe they just don't don't stay focused much. Maybe you need to hit them a few times with different messages. Maybe one message isn't enough. Uh, their challenges might be finding things local. Maybe they're a big local person who loves to buy things local. What are their frustrations? That person might get frustrated if you don't give them enough information. If they don't know who you are, sometimes those people might want to know who the people are behind the product. So what are you going to offer them? Well, you're going to offer them everything they need. You're going to, um, if they are your primary target audience, you're going to offer them videos, how-to videos. You're going to offer them maybe an interview with an industry expert that's talking about the health benefits of your product. Uh, so you're going to break it down, and that might be your primary segment person. A secondary segment is maybe somebody who just doesn't need so much information, somebody who just really is already knows your product, your segment, the product that you're offering, but this person needs to know why you're better, right? They need to know just a couple more things of why you're better and why they should choose you. Yeah, I already know kind of this product. I like this product, but why should I choose you? So there might be a little difference. One's a high information, one is, just give me the bits and pieces. Um, the third segment could be somebody who uh, kind of follows trends. They are pretty good at just kind of following the trends, seeing what other people are recommending. So what might be good for them is to make it easy to buy. Uh, and so you're going to figure that out. And then that fourth one might be just somebody who maybe they mainly shop at grocery stores. They don't go to farmers markets. What do they need? They need a retail presence. So you can use this buyer persona for all kinds of different things. You can use it for if you are going to create different products that target different people, different segments. You can use it for if you're launching into a whole new segment, a whole new product line, you're going to have different personas. But you're going to come back to this over and over and over and over again. And I'll talk about it through today and this afternoon quite a bit because you have to know who your customer is now even more than ever. There's a lot of reasons for that, but it just doesn't get it just is this exercise is critical to everything you do in marketing. Another thing that you might have seen before or heard about is a customer journey, an audience journey. So your job is to really think about that audience journey. So as marketers, I know some of you are solopreneurs, some of you may have several employees, some of you may have quite a large operation going on already. But as your marketing team, we need to know what the audience journey is, and often it's kind of a bit typical. But the reason why we want to know the audience journey, we want to see where people go, and so as you're developing those personas, each one of those personas may have a different audience journey. Maybe you set up the personas just so you can document that audience journey, that customer journey, the buyer's journey. But this is a pretty typical journey. There is a need customer goes, oh, I need this thing. They start shopping for it. They purchase it. And then I love this because after they purchase it, what are you going to do? You are going to build a relationship with them. You are going to keep them in your circle. You're going to let them know you value them. Thank you for the purchase. And did you know there's this going on? And we have a new product. You're going to continue to reach out and give them love. And that there's two steps to that. You know, you want to continue to let them know that they relate to you and you relate to them. They are your biggest, advocates. They become your your ambassador, especially when they move into that loyalty phase, that love phase where they love you and you love them. So this audience journey is a way to visualize uh, what where people are in this journey and what they need to hear. What kind of messaging do you want to give them during these different phases? So it does allow you to um, create the messaging. This next slide shows you something called customer touch points. Customer touch points is any place, anywhere, anytime your customer comes in touch with any part of your brand. So anytime it comes to mind, anytime they see something, think about it. Uh, and yeah, there's a lot of things here that are they look like advertising and inserts, but it's interesting. It looks like I've doubled up a few things, but what the exercise you would do is to take, you know, your customer journey and your touch points. And these are just a bunch of options of touch points. And then you would apply them to your customer journey. So then you would look like something like this. Um, your buyer's journey might be they first realize they need something on social media. They might search with Chat GPT. They might end up on your website, and they might use search a little bit to see what's out there, if they think they're missing something. They may go into a store to see if your product's at a store, or then they might jump onto your website or the store, and this is where they're buying it. So your packaging, your website becomes more important here. And then they become a customer, they've purchased your product, and now you need to stay in touch with them and think about the type of messaging they need to hear from you after the purchase. This is when you might begin to talk to them using text messaging, and certainly emails may be something you use as well. So this buyer's journey gives you these touch points in which you then need to create custom messaging for those different touch points, because people need to hear different things at different times. That means that's now I'm starting to kind of talk, make you think about how your messaging should change, why different messaging is for different ears at different times. It's the different messaging is to to land on ears at the right time, at the right, when they need to hear it, because they won't hear it unless it's the right time. If they're in this early phases of, oh, I need that, and then you're talking about why they need it. So understanding, thinking about the buyer's journey is key to understanding how to create the right messaging in your marketing. I bet most of you have heard of the buying funnel. There's all kinds of graphics out there that kind of explain it. I like this one. Basically, the top of the funnel. Top of the funnel is when somebody says, I need this item. I need this brush for curly hair or something. Um, Number two is, okay, I'm searching and now I become aware. Awareness. I'm now aware of your brand. I am aware. I know about your product. I know about your company. I know about your services. That awareness phase is important. That need. This is the need. I need this item, and then they find you. The awareness is I know about your product. Those two things. Those two sections are top of the funnel. Those two areas is where you're going to do your brand awareness. That's why brand awareness is so important. It's usually the basics, the basic uh, first things you need to that you do on social media or in your marketing is simply brand awareness. It's a top of the funnel. You're basically spreading the net wide to bring people in. And now we move into the education. I see more information about your product, and now more than ever, people on social media are just digging in on product information. The more you can tell people about your product, the more transparent, the more information, the more competitor um, uh, comparisons, uh, the better, because uh, social media has and the trends of buying trends has become even more people really want lots of information and they expect the brand to do that. Number four, I consideration of value. Now I've shortlisted you. It's either you or this other person, and which one am I going to buy? All right, that's where that competitor comparison information becomes really critical. Uh, and now contact. I'm ready to buy your product. All right, chosen you. Time to buy the product. That customer care, that the way you take care of that customer through the buying process, your follow-up emails, your everything should just be amazing. It should align to your brand values and not just use unique and generic type messaging. So the buying funnel guides you on, again, the different types of wording, the different types of messaging that is important to those areas. And a little bit of research. You'll find today I'll be talking about quite a bit of research. I really want to do the research for you because there's just so much out there. I want to make sure I bring forward some research that pertains to what we're talking about. So this is new research. It is about hybrid shopping journey. So ever since COVID, it kind of changed how consumers are now using a mix of digital and in-person channels to build their own shopping experience with, oh, we got some questions. So with more than 1/3 of Gen Z primarily opting for hybrid shopping. So stores are no longer the default shopping channel, but 72% of consumers rely on stores as part of their primary buying method. So what that means is people are searching online for products. They are going into stores to look at them, maybe buy them, but they are doing both. There's a hybrid type of shopping happening where a lot of the research might happen online, but they're still going into stores. Or they go into stores so they can touch and feel, and then they go buy online. So it really is something to think about. I think it's a really important point to know that that shopping journey has changed, is changing, and you should be on top of that. All right, is there a different typical length of time for the buying funnel based on different product types, i.e., hairbrush versus high dollar item like a plow or high dollar? Definitely, yeah. Every industry is going to have a much different much different um, length of time for that buying funnel. And it can be, I mean, plan for your buying funnel to be long, um, especially in that, I am, and especially in that research phase. You know, some people take forever to come to a decision to buy a certain thing. Some people don't. Some people are, there are people, and I'm thinking of food products. There are people that go to the store and they buy way more than what they intended on buying. So those are very short, uh, short decisions. But making them aware of it at the top of the funnel by getting yourself out there is part of it. So think about the uh, that top of the funnel and how important that is, especially for the long buying cycles. And then, of course, if it's an extended higher dollar volume item, they're going to need way more information. So the more information you can give them via your website, via your socials, but definitely YouTube is probably number one of really trying to get more information on those more complicated items. Target audience, preferred channels. So when you're planning your marketing strategy, it's very important to really know your target audience. And you'll have done those buyer personas, and what you want to find out on each of them is where their preferred channels are. Where do they buy? Where do they make the decision to buy? And so it could be your social media. It could be a booth at a tabling event that you're doing, a farmer's market that you're doing. Uh, does your audience like emails? Do they open their emails? Uh, uh, or do they use search? I don't have another one up here. Is Chat GPT, which is uh, a lot of the how people are searching these days. So you're the one that has to figure out where your audience is, and that's really like the key thing when you jump into marketing. Well, where's the audience? Okay, that's where we're going to go. Uh, who who has more buying power? Which channels have people who have a little more buying power than others? Um, what's the greatest chance for me to make a difference on those channels? So know where your target audience, what are their preferred channels, and show up there. Uh, plan your marketing budget around that. Going back to that funnel, top of the funnel messaging. So your branded messaging, uh, when you talk about your brand values, if what you determine to do is to uh, make your positioning statement, your brand positioning, lead with your values. If you decide that a values positioning is the way you want to go, then the top of the funnel, when people first learn about you, leading with that is an important piece. Leading with your basic brand positioning statement of you as a brand, um, and just your core basic product boilerplate pitch. Those are just the basics that you do want to get out there and say over and over again. So that top of the funnel in different ways, don't can't get boring with it, but that's where this is brand awareness. This is what you say to people when you tell them what you do. But just know that that top of the messaging, the branding is has the most value um, at the top of the funnel because it sticks with people, right? Where we brand before marketing because branding makes it stick. So brand messaging at the top of the funnel is very important. And then as you get lower to the bottom of the funnel, when you're getting into um, the the selling process, now it's more marketing messages. It's more features and benefits, the benefit to the customer. It's a little bit more about those details and those supporting items. And so as you're thinking about buying funnel, you will actually create messaging for each persona of what that messaging is that they need to hear. So that awareness messaging is more a branded type messaging. Consideration might be a little bit more about the benefits and features or the values, right? Connecting values to your customer, and then down in decision. Definitely in the decision. Now it's nuts and bolts. They want to know. They're comparing you to somebody. That messaging is a little different. Loyalty messaging is just, again, tapping into their values, bringing them back, making them a loyal customer. We actually create little messages, kind of a basic boilerplate for each one of these funnel areas for each persona. And I want to say here, some of you may have products, food products, and you may have a retail version of your product, but now you want to take that product into wholesale. You'd like to get it into retail. Now you need to do a whole series of this messaging for a retail buyer to get in the door. So now it's a whole different set of messaging for all of these different areas. Uh, if you're then maybe planning to move into international markets, now you need to make a whole nother set of messaging. So your this is your boilerplate. This is your something you just say to somebody in an elevator, but it goes beyond that, and you break it down into these different areas, and it helps you. It helps you have it ready, right? So you don't have to make it up on the fly. If you're a solopreneur, sometimes you are testing things out all the time, but at some point, as you grow and you have other people working with you, it's good to put it in writing. All right, so I'm just letting you know that we just talked about marketing, all the different steps, all the tools you need to do it well, to plan some content. But I have to put this kind of last. We'll talk about this in depth a little bit later. But every single thing you do, every single marketing plan that you do, marketing effort that you do, you will want to establish your KPIs, your key performance metrics or indicators is a KPI, so that you know whether things are working. Part of part of messaging and when you get into marketing, when you're doing social media, you are going to fine tune. You're going to see what's working, what's not working. You're going to make adjustments, iterations. So always tying everything you do to metrics so you can see what's working is important. Are you going to change your brand core positioning? No. Will you reevaluate your brand positioning uh, strategy? Yes, at times you will. What if you think this positioning is really going to work, and well, what what if it doesn't? What are you missing? so maybe, but if you've done your research, chances are it's going to be working. And but watching the metrics, figuring out where you can improve your marketing is key. We are at 1 o'clock. We can get through this pretty fast. All right. So this next section, we're going to talk about content planning. It's really about knowing that funnel, like we talked about. All I'm doing is kind of reiterating. When you're planning your content, you need to know your funnel. So just a quick rehash on that. There's your buying funnel, decision cycle. You're going to create. I'm a proponent of creating a content calendar. And when you create a content calendar, you create kind of buckets of different type of content, and you determine what that content's going to look like or feel like. And each bucket or pillar should have a direct tie to one of these buying funnels. So we're creating this type just to get people's attention, awareness. We're creating this type to educate. We're creating this type to let people know there's a problem out there and they need us. So when you're planning your content, create the buckets or the different kind of a code for determining that you definitely need different type of, it's not just one type of content. And so, and I'm just showing you, we're kind of reviewing these particular slides because you will be creating content that supports your basic brand marketing message. Again, that's top of the funnel. That's kind of where you start. That's the beginning. That's the core. And you may, yeah, so remember that that's a necessary thing. And then when you get into it, here's how you might categorize it, but you might come up with your own terms that when you put it into a calendar. And here's a typical calendar. So this is just this is an Excel spreadsheet, an example of a tool that gets used. Over on the right are basic basic categories. It's the key. So we have features, blog news, product features, special offer, holiday, and some experimental things. And then we've just those. Of course, we're not calling out which funnel part of the funnel it is, but basically, it's a calendar so that you know ahead of time what you're featuring, how you're featuring, when you're featuring, and that you're featuring all the different types of categories, all the different types of content you need to cover that funnel to fully get your message out there. But because I certainly having a content. Let's think about. Let me give you an example. So one bucket might be if you're selling seafood and you are direct marketing to consumers, you might want to email them, especially if you have people on your email list, or you might create a campaign letting people know that you are going to have a certain product in just in time for Father's Day. So it could be salmon, it could be something else, but so you want to remind people, hey, Father's Day is coming up. You want to feed the family, get your pre-orders in. This is a great Father's Day meal. Oh, and by the way, also order 3 pounds of clams to go with it. What a great Father's Day picnic that is. So these are special occasions that you're marketing to. and you want to be out in front to remind people, hey, you're planning your meal, you're thinking about it already, make it a seafood feast. Um, you might, and certainly you can target several different holidays, Labor Day, 4th of July, those are all great seafood holidays. Um, certainly some, and so think about your audience, think about what they care about, what drives their everyday life, and put it into the calendar. Make sure they're there, so that you can plan ahead. So those are campaigns, Father's Day campaign, uh, Mother's Day campaign. There might be a different twist on it. So use your calendar that way. Also note any important uh, Indigenous special days, any national holidays that might pertain to your industry, and be prepared and think about them way ahead of time so you're not just throwing something out there. Understand that when you do create the messaging for those things, that you want to embrace your brand voice, your brand tone, values of your leaders, of the brand. I am going to, all right, any question? What would be a good growth rate for social media marketing campaigns on a week-to-week growth period? Everybody's different. Every single person is different. So that growth rate is every product is different. Um, you might just be looking for a 2% growth rate, or you might want 5%, or you might just want it to grow in some way. So it's hard for me to quantify what that actual growth rate is, because often, your growth rate is maybe how many people follow you, if that's the metric that you're paying attention to. But we're going to get into metrics right now. So while I still have a little bit of time, I will cruise through some marketing metrics and the things that we look at. KPIs, key performance indicators, marketing metrics. So first time I work with anybody, I ask them what their KPIs are, what their key performance indicators are, because um, everybody's different. Every single person, every single product, every single company, anybody on social media who's doing anything, or in marketing in general, those KPIs are going to be different for everybody, because at any given time you're in a different place in your business, and they will adjust and change depending on what part of your business you're trying to grow, uh, what part of your marketing you're trying to grow. Uh, when you start out, there's just there's different things than you're doing than when you're a much more mature marketing operation. So key performance indicators are the three that I have check marked here are pretty good ones. Let's start with I have them separated out here into categories, because it depends on what you're looking at, right? So whatever's important for you at any given time can change based on your business doing something, or moving into a different phase. But your marketing performance is what you're going to be looking at quite a bit for day-to-day information, month-to-month information, learning about how to adjust. Um, uh, it kind of gives you a good overview. But the key performance indicators that are really important, right, is new customers by source. Knowing where your new customers come in by the source. Okay, so that's an important key performance indicator because you're going to be able to know what channels are working for you. And then you can start gleaning, well, why are they working? How can we make them work better? How come these other ones aren't working? That new customers by source is a great high level KPI to keep an eye on. Uh, Certainly, the most two important ones are the website visits that turn into customers. Knowing what that is, how many visitors turn into customers and how many don't. Knowing that is critical, and so is leads to customer. Leads are a little different. It's more of a leads are something you hand off to your sales team. So it's more of like a service or large product or a large ticket item. But it, that's what you want to know. You want to know what's turned into a sale and how did it get there? Where did it come from? Knowing how many visits to the website actually turn into a customer. So that to me is really, really important. Why? Why is that? Well, if you know how many visitors turn into customers, you also know how many visitors don't turn into customers. Now I'm going to want to figure out, well, why? What's going wrong? What's happening on the website? Why are they come to the website and then they don't become a customer? That's a big challenge for me. That's like one of the first things I look at as I'm looking at somebody's marketing. So that's a key performance indicator for me. And then these other ones, marketing reach, super important, knowing what to do there each month, what to look at. We'll go through that. Leads generated and visits to leads. So that's again, just kind of a step to the lead to customer, the sales team performance. But it's still, if what you're trying to do is get somebody to fill out a form to get more information, again, if they're getting to your website and then they don't fill out that form to talk to you about your product or service, then we got to figure out why that's not happening. What is it about your website that's not doing the job or your offering? So there's basically, um, three basic areas, kind of categories for metrics. So marketing reach, uh, it's just a great indicator of uh, whether it's increasing or not increasing. How big is our marketing reach? Is it growing? Is it not growing? Total reach, total number of people you can reach. You consider this really your total number of prospects. But I just constantly look at reach by channel. I want to know, how big is the reach? Certainly I want the marketing reach to be going up all the time. Sometimes it stays the same for a bit and then goes up, and sometimes you have a little drop, but over time, you want to see it go up. But I'm always focused on reach by channel. I want to know what channels are working, which ones need a little bit help, and why do they need help? I'm not going to abandon all the channels that maybe that are underperforming. I want to figure out how to make them perform, and certainly the ones that are performing better. We probably want to put more resources into it. So reach by channel might look something like this. In this chart, it's going up every single month. That probably isn't how it always works. Often it will, kind of stay the same and go up because you've done a really good job on a campaign. That might level out. It might go down just because, and then you have to figure out why. And then it might shoot back up. But if you're, so you're always wanting to pay attention to this so that you can figure out what the problem is. And that's what marketing is all about, is to reiterate, readjust, evaluate, do A/B tests, figure out what resonates and what doesn't, and you just keep moving forward. Another key thing, I love Google Analytics. I am just love them. I love it. I just dig into it so deep. I want to know. I want to know website visits, how many people come there, total website visits. Is it going up? Is it staying the same? Is it producing more, maybe staying the same, but getting better results? Uh, if this is your goal, not everyone, uses a website for their products or services in a big way, but it certainly is where your brand kind of lives. It's your hub for people who need more information than what they can get from your socials. Um, so again, my favorite thing to do, and I get pretty excited about this, is digging into Google Analytics. That's where you find this information. But I want to know visits by source. Again, where are these visits coming from? What sources are sending them to the website? And then what's happening? What are people doing on the website? They come in, what page do they go to? How many pages do they see? And do they ever get to the point of putting something in a cart, or putting something, or going to the form to fill something out? And how many carts get abandoned, and how many forms get abandoned? And so now I got to figure out, well, why is that journey leading to them bouncing? So there's problems we have to solve. There's problems you'll find out from metrics. Uh, you use them to know more about your customers, about how they're, and some of this you have to glean. You have to think creatively to understand and guess why maybe they bounce. There's all kind. If you do have an e-commerce platform, say Shopify, there are all types of email and customer communication uh, tools that you can use to ask somebody why they didn't finish making the purchase. You have things in your cart. Why aren't you making the purchase? Uh, if um, and of course, to do all of this, you have to connect your social media, your email. You need to learn how to connect it to your website so that you can have all of that data at your fingertips, so you can really figure out what people are doing. Where were they when they came to the website, and then maybe where they even went afterwards. And leads are, again, more service oriented or more big ticket items, but it's products that you might have, or services that you might have, that you have forms, you're using third-party apps, you're bringing people in to purchase things. Generally, you're handing these off to a sales team. But that might not just be the case either. But it's not a direct purchase; it's a lead. So it's kind of the same thing. Uh, but the thing is that you may have way more channels for these leads. You might have, I don't know, there might be all kinds of different ways that you bring people in, and again, you just track them, figure out what's working, and put that into your knowledge of what you can do differently and better. A great KPI is new customers by source. So those new customers, where are they coming from? And then do what you need to do to adjust, or put more budget into something, or less. I'm gonna end with this really great graphic. So today we've been talking about marketing, how to do it, how to tie it to your brand, but this and then finally metrics. This is a great graphic. This is some research done by HubSpot. I think it's really cool to see what the trends are. We'll talk more about those this afternoon. But the primary metrics for social media in 2024 are that marketers are using, the primary metrics that they are using is overall sales, which makes sense, traffic to your website, which gets me excited because I get to use Google Analytics, impressions and views, sales directly within a social media platform. We'll talk about more this afternoon. Likes, comments, brand sentiment, lead generation, if you're using forms, and brand mentions and hashtags. So these are the top metrics that are being used right now. This is very current information for social media. But I thought this was really a great graphic so you can kind of narrow it down if you're primarily doing your marketing on and even your sales on social media. Well, that does it for today's this morning's session. Any questions before we go on a break?
We'll give it a few minutes to get some questions asked. And if you would just want to think of some on the break, you're always more than welcome to come back and ask them. But if we're not getting any questions, we'll go ahead and we'll take a break. We'll resume in 32 minutes. Oh, we got one from Victoria. What website platform do you use?
I I prefer WordPress. We are a WordPress development company. There's nothing we can't do on a WordPress website, so we really enjoy WordPress. Certainly Squarespace and Wix are out there and we will, those sometimes are just more simple for people to develop their own websites. So there's nothing wrong with those at all. E-commerce, I highly recommend Shopify. I will, yeah, Shopify is by far, I recommend it for lots of reasons. There's ways you can integrate it into your website or just use Shopify and their content management system for your blogs and such. But what I like about Shopify is their platform is indestructible. It's so good. And their customer service is phenomenal, phenomenal. So I am very confident recommending it because you'll have a really good experience with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Give it a few minutes, see if any more questions roll in. But, oh, here we go again. Are any of the platforms you mentioned capable of developing an app as well for a reasonable price to go hand in hand with your website?
Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them have apps. So, yes, the certainly, uh, let me think. Wix and Squarespace, one of them, both have apps, a whole app platform that you can upload to the marketplace, the app marketplaces. But yes, so but it just depends on how much capability that you want in those apps. So I would I think it's Squarespace and Wix might both have those. WordPress, not so much, right? The So if you want something that you're going to download as an app, a standalone app, depending on, I mean, Shopify has an app. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for kind of an app experience, I think, yeah, I think they all do except for WordPress. It's kind of a different type of process for that. But I think think you're probably talking about e-commerce. Mhm.
All right, wonderful. Well, with that, we will let you guys go.